feeling of mindness that is one of the most destructive qualities that we possess, and we all possess it. Kapow, kapow, kapow. We back. I almost said we are back, but then I clipped R out of that and just went with we back. Efficiency. Hashtag simplicity efficiency. Hashtag let's keep this episode under 6 minutes to continue that theme. We're talking the multiverse today. And the multiverse is here. I don't mean from some cosmic sense. I don't even mean from the practical sense that every single one of us walking around has an entire universe in our heads. We view the world in only the way that we view the world. My 3-year-old, she has an entire universe of interrelated objects, relationships, ideas that are so uniquely hers. No one in history has ever had it. You get a team meeting of 5 different team members around a concept. We are all going to bring in our own viewpoint that is so distinct from everyone around us. It's often said in this podcast that nearly our entire realities come down to what we give our attention to. So those 5 people in a work meeting, they're all bringing in an entirely different reality to that meeting, that interaction. That is the multiverse in everyday life. For all 8 billion humans on this planet and trillions of organisms that all have their own view of what we think the universe is. But the multiverse that I want to talk about today is from the Gita. The song. Gita is Sanskrit for song. Bhagavad Gita is Song of the Lord. And I've done a handful of episodes on this insanely compact 700 or 701 verse poem that is the world's most famous poem. Last episode, I touched on it, and I touched on chapter 18, the last chapter of this 30-minute dialogue between a warrior prince and his charioteer, the symbolic embodiment of God. Which is just such a dope setting, by the way, for a spiritual text. For it to be a dialogue between a warrior prince having a meltdown right before this huge, epic civil war battle, and God, what is ostensibly God, just a symbolic embodiment of God. But that dialogue of what the questions you'd ask, the insight you'd get, the answers, the wisdom you'd be able to glean in that setting, it's phenomenal. In terms of a backdrop, I haven't seen anything touch that. And well, maybe some other texts that I won't mention right now are also cool. Very cool. The backdrop of that is just, it is on a whole nother level than any other spiritual text that I've seen. Also, the fact that in its compact form, like I said, a 30-minute read, it touches on every principle within this philosophy. But what is the multiverse within the Bhagavad Gita, within the Song of the Lord? It is verse 51, 52, 53 of chapter 18, which are all essentially one verse. They're all one sentence split out over 3. Let's jump into these 3 verses and discuss afterwards. Krishna is talking to Arjuna near the end of their conversation, and he is talking about the qualities of a divine person. Endued with a very pure intellect, having controlled self through firmness, relinquished sound and other sense objects, renounced love and hatred, and, verse 52, living in solitude, eating but a little, with speech, body, and mind controlled, ever engaged in yoga of meditation, endued with dispassion. 53, freed from egoism, power, arrogance, desire, anger, covetousness, mindness, being peaceful, one is fit for becoming Brahman. The vast. Brahman is a Sanskrit word that is used for the supreme being, and its actual literal meaning is the vast. Union with what is the infinite. The vast. This multiverse, these 3 verses are 3 of the most powerful verses in the entire Gita, because it talks about the divine qualities and what to orient ourselves and what to avoid. Things like a purified intellect, which might be the single most, all of these qualities are paramount for a spiritual seeker. But perhaps the most important is a purified intellect, which is the capacity to discern. On the podcast, and I think it was yesterday or the day before, highlighted the definition of the intellect within Vedanta, which is the capacity to see the end in the beginning. Another way of talking about this quality is discernment, which is often seen as the crown jewel. The crown jewel of all of the principles is discernment, the power to see clearly. Discern right from wrong, discern how to do something, discern who we really are. All of these require a purified intellect, a purified looking glass to see the end in the beginning. They all require clarity. If I were to pick out, because it's certainly these three verses, that it's an hour lecture at the ashram around these 3 verses, which I highly, highly recommend. You can download Vedanta World. It's in the show notes, the app from the ashram, and you can watch all of the same lectures that I watch every single day, every morning, through the app, through the comfort of your home, your couch. It's remarkable. Where these 3 verses will get an entire hour explanation. 2 years of the 3-year course is spent on this 30-minute conversation of the Gita, for example. But out of the qualities that the divine person avoids, is free from, perhaps the most important is mindness. Mamaha. Mindness. Freed from a feeling of this is mine. That's my daughter. That's my son. This is my house, my car. This is my life. This is my community. This is my family. This is my company. All of these applications of mindness destroy the potential of each. You want to destroy the potential of a child? Oppress them with this feeling of you're mine. You want to destroy the potential of a company? Oppress everybody that works with you with this feeling of you work for my company. This is my product. I'll let you, if you're lucky, toss in 1 or 2 small minor contributions, but it's so clear in every interaction that this is mine. You want to limit the potential of your impact in a community? View the community as a well that you siphon value from. A mine. A gold mine that you are extracting from. Mineness. Mamaha. A feeling of mineness that is one of the most destructive qualities that we possess, and we all possess it, speaker included. But recognizing when it's applied, its destructive quality to the very thing we are attached to is one of the easiest ways for us to let go a little bit. See what happens when we don't have that feeling of possessiveness. Have possessions, but limit and try to eliminate any feeling of possessiveness over them, and see what happens to their flourishing. And even that quality to be able to see what happens, to try both out, try both approaches and see what happens, that comes from a pure intellect, applying a high level of discernment. of clarity. Chapter 18, 51 to 53, these 3 verses, which make up one sentence, they have nearly everything in them. The multiverse. And that's today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time.